Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone. And this is the Tarda Zone Talks. Just before we start, apparently the little psycho has told everybody told everybody on his channel that watches him, but nobody watches him, to take names of people that turn up on the panel and turn up in the chat. So if you get bullied or harassed, right, which is won't really because nobody watches them, but if you do get bullied and harassed for being in here because we're talking about the future of Doctor Who and the fact that a Christmas special is not being filmed, more lies from a particular person out there. So if you get harassed, just remember it's because of the fact that they've been called out for being an absolute liar, and that's why they're throwing their toys out of their pram. Also, they're making the claim that apparently they're getting under my skin and all of this. I've been laughing at you all night, mate. We've all been laughing at you. People in this chat will back me up when I say that most of those songs that I put up about you, I put up on my YouTube channel weeks ago. We've been all having a laugh behind the scenes at your expense. There is nothing you can say or do that's going to get under my skin. The fact of the matter is you're a liar. You continue to lie, and I will continue to call it out as long as you continue to be the fraud that you are. Anyway, we are here, as I said, to discuss the future of Doctor Who, because there is a lot of rumour and speculation going around. And of course, Dan from Type 40 himself has been reporting some rumours and source information that he's received. Of course, Dan has never said any of this is fact, but because, you know, a particular person out there doesn't know the difference between speculation and fact, you know, always seems to get their knickers in a bit of a twist over it. Well, as I said, you know, it's rumor, speculation. There's also been articles from not Digital Spy, what's the other one, Screen Rant, in relation to whether this would be Shooty's last season. So there has been talk, there has been rumors that everything has not been quite right behind the scenes. Now, everybody out there has been spinning the fact that apparently Disney is happy with this. No matter what they say publicly, Disney have not been happy with Doctor Who, and we're not happy with the fourth series and what numbers it actually produced. All of the chatter that we're getting, all of the spin that we're getting, the same thing happened during the Jodie Whittaker era, and look where that left it. And again, as I said, the fans out there, you know, if you want this show to survive and you want this show to succeed, well, then you need to stop making excuses for this man and stop making excuses for the people behind who are making Doctor Who, because they've ran it into the ground. And that's a fact, right? And I don't care what age group this apparently attracts or what country it's doing well in. If it's not doing well in the United Kingdom and it's not doing well in the American market, you can forget about the rest of the markets out there, right? They're the two main markets, and that's where they will base the success of this show. Also, I found on Reddit a screenshot of the Disney slate. The Doctor Who spin-off is happening this year, as well as Shooty's second series. So if you were to just think logically, right, if they're throwing out the Doctor Who second series of Shooty and then they're throwing out the spin-off this year, well, then it would suggest to me, just speculating here, that they're getting it out because they can end the contract then, and then therefore the show is done on Disney Plus. Now, does that mean it'd be done with BBC? Would BBC take the gamble of giving it a lower budget and trying to make the show work again? Logically speaking, I don't think they would do that. But the future Doctor Who is in the air. Now, there's been this talk from the particular person saying that the Christmas special for 2025 was already filmed. The Christmas special for 2025 was not already filmed because there's fan accounts out there that have been following the filming all the way through, and they had never mentioned once that anything was filmed for a Christmas special in 2025. Also, if there was a Christmas special already filmed and already in the can, the BBC would have announced it along with the fact that they announced Shooty's second series. There'd be no reason to keep the Christmas special a secret. So again, it's all bullshit and spin. Okay, when you actually Google Doctor Who Christmas special in 2025, what will come up in the searches is Joy to the World. So in reality, there is no evidence to back up that a 2025 Christmas special was filmed, let alone has there been any official announcement, as well as being no official announcement on the future of Doctor Who. And as we said, those decisions will be made this year. But there is talk behind the scenes that all is not well with Doctor Who, and it may be the end of Doctor Who. And that's what we're here to discuss. Now, I'm not alone, right? So take your names all you want. But I'm not alone. I've got a guest. You're moderating for Rabbi. That's absolutely fine, PD. I did send you the email. I do know that you stream. It's just I had to stream a little bit early tonight because Man United's on. I know it's not really priority, but for me, I'm a Man United fan, so I'm going to watch my team, lose again, probably against Fulham. But, I'm a glutton for punishment. So that's what we're here to discuss. We're going to discuss, myself and Cinnamon, who's backstage, are going to discuss what we think is what's going to happen with Doctor Who. And it's speculation. That's why I put the little disclaimer at the front, because this person doesn't understand the difference between speculation and fact. Takes everything that you say as fact and then goes and plays the victim then when he's called out. But we're speculating here, and that's what we're going to be doing for this stream. We're going to speculate about the future of Doctor Who based on what we've heard, what we've seen by the media, and of course the revelation that the spin-off will also be released this year. So let's bring on my guest, and it's absolutely a pleasure to have him on. Of course, PD, hopefully, if we're still streaming, PD will join us a little bit later on, but if he doesn't, we'll be back as normal. Now, StreamYard, as you know, was up, and started giving me this chance to, I think it's a free trial or something now, so you get, I think it's a week or something. So I've got an extra week before I go back down to 5 hours. So it's already showed me what the future is going to look like. So I have 5 hours entitled to stream over 3 channels a week, right? That's what I'm going to be limited to, right? Unfortunately. So moving forward after this week, we're going to have to figure shit out. And it's for all my channels. Like I'm screwed. I'm absolutely screwed. What will happen is like what I used to do back in the day, is do a few pre-record streams with panels and stuff like that, and then put them up, premiere them that way. It's the only way that I'm probably going to be able to move forward, because people like to speculate out there that I make a lot of money off this channel and I exploit certain things to make money, but that's not true at all. If it was true, I'd still have me fucking StreamYard. You know what I mean? But anyway, I've been putting out songs as well. I know some of you are probably fed up, but there does seem to be a core amount of people that are watching them. So I want to thank those people first of all. But I will continue to do them. I'm being slacked off now because apparently I've done 50 songs. So what if I've done 50 songs, right? If you're dealing with what I'm dealing with over here in my country, right? Doing those songs gives me the relief and relaxation that I need to not completely lose it because of what's happening in my country. So those songs are a relaxation thing. So if you have a problem with that, I honestly don't care, right? But there must be some sort of jealousy going on there because, you're banging up all the songs again, looking for attention. Nobody's giving you attention except for me. And I choose to give you this attention because I'm just going to keep winding you up. It's as simple as that. You're not going to get under my skin. I can tell you now, you said I'm on the verge of snapping. You're going to snap before I do. And I can guarantee you that because I'm never going to snap. You're not dealing with the same person that you dealt with a few years ago. So if I were you, right, if I were you, I'd grow the fuck up and take responsibility of the fact that you're a loser, right? And you've never got anything right in your goddamn life. And no, your problem is nobody's ever fucking stood up to you, right? People tolerate your behavior. I'm not going to tolerate your behavior. And for everybody else out there, and I'm not just saying this to one person, I'm saying this to everybody, right? Whatever goes on between me and Joe, nobody's to get involved, right? Nobody's to insert themselves into it either. Don't get involved. It's between me and him. End of story. And if he starts coming in trying to drag you into it, just block him. It's as simple as that. Just block him, right? Why people would still want to be having conversations with him is beyond me. Just block the man, right? I will deal with it. Anyway, let's bring me guest on, Cinnamon. Let's talk about the future Doctor Who. We'll have about 20 streams about this stream of him later on anyway, so you have something to look forward to. I'm not watching it. Sorry. Anyway, let's bring on Cinnamon.
Yeah, 20 dozen streams.
Yeah, 20. That's minimum. And he complains about me doing 50 songs because some of them happen to be diss tracks. So what? They're diss tracks. None of your business, right? I'm expressing myself how I feel through music, right? Or I'm proud to say that I write most of the lyrics of all of those songs anyway, right? Okay, I'm proud of that. Okay, and the reason why I do it, as I said, it gives me relief because I do the activism, as you know, and and that can get to you. The politics can get to you, but you certainly don't. I've been ripping the piss out of you for the last couple of weeks behind the scenes as well. It's been fucking brilliant, glorious, man. And you're saying I'm snapping. You're the one that's about to snap, and you will snap before I will, because I'm going to be relentless this time. You can make all the veiled threats you want, right? You can make the veiled threat getting on a plane and all. I dare you, get on a fucking plane. Come over here, right? If not, shut the fuck. Because nobody's listening to you anymore. You're a pest. Pest. That's all you are, pest. We've got better things to be doing, but I will pay a little bit of attention because you're starved for it. So I'll give you the attention that other people don't. You know, the other people that are not in your life anymore. I'll give you the attention. I'll fill that void for you because you clearly need it. So I'll give you that attention. You've got it. I don't need any podcaster telling me Doctor Who is good or bad. If season 2 ends up being bad. I haven't said anything about whether season 2 will be good or bad, or whether fans should watch or not. At the end of the day, if you analyse it because of what happened in season 1, it'd be clear to state, because they were filmed both at the same time, that season 2 is not actually going to be an improvement on season 1. But I've never told anybody not to watch. It's up to them whether they want to watch or not. The bottom line is, I just think it's a pile of shite. Anyway, let's ask what Cinnamon thinks of all of the rumours. So, Cinnamon, there has been a lot of talk, let's be honest, about Shooty's future, about the show's future. And if we look at what's happened before all of this, it hasn't looked good for Doctor Who, no matter what people are saying out there. It's not generating the hype, or even the fandoms are dead. You see it on social medias as well. There's not that hype there for Doctor Who anymore. So there is a clear decline, right? Would you be surprised after what we've seen so far if Disney have said, yeah, that's it, after the spin-off, we're done?
I don't know, because it's a funny one, isn't it? Because it's like, you're paying for something. They're paying to have it on their streaming service. They're paying to have publishing rights, or to show the episodes on their platform, their streaming service, what have you. Are they happy with it? I don't know. We're hearing conflicting reports all the time. They're happy with it. They're not happy with it. Which one is it? I don't know. I don't really care at this point, to be honest. I was talking last night with the thinking about, as a sort of British, or I should have said, but yeah, actually, as a sort of British or maybe Irish viewer, You know, if you're not in America, does Disney Plus, you know, from my point of view, as a British viewer, does it actually impact me at all? Does it impact my experience of Doctor Who? Not really, because it's still visually, you know, for all this talk about the extra budget.
Well,
and in
that's
some
the thing.
instances,
If it came off Disney Plus, obviously, you know, it'd probably go back. I'm just speculating here. Of course, everything here is speculation for the person that doesn't understand the difference between the two. But if it did come off Disney Plus, it'd be logical to assume that it'd probably go back onto BBC America or something like that. Or BBC have been talking about their own streaming service, proper streaming service anyway. So you would assume that if it did come off Disney Plus and there still was a future of Doctor Who, they would do something like that. So you are right. When it comes to the American audience, it's not going to really affect them, and it's not really going to affect us here in the Ireland and the UK either, because we can get it. Well, you can get it on BBC and BBC iPlayer, but you know what I mean. It's readily available, and I'm pretty sure the Americans, if they couldn't get it in America, they'll watch it the way they used to watch it years ago anyway when it was played on BBC. So you know, it's internet; you can watch things now.
yeah, that's the main. You know, the only difference from my point of view is that it's on at a later time. It releases at midnight now. Like I said, I was just going to say something about the budgets and all that. You know, you can see in certain instances, and off a Boom, they had a really big LED screen, so instead of it all being computerized with effects afterwards, it was all kind of done in real time. So that, I guess, but in the moment you don't really notice it. It's still, this era looks very visually similar to Geordie's. So again, even on that front, it's still the same. I basically, what my point is if Disney was to go, or if we were to move on from Disney, I don't think it'd be a big, particularly massive loss. To be honest, I think, you know, that even as soon as we got on board with Disney, we've been told by the showrunner, you know, or we'll still go back to how it used to. What was it? I can't remember the exact quote, but I was like, Russell said something along the lines of, "Oh, yeah, we're more than happy to go back to making it how we used to be gritty." And I'm like, yeah, actually, I think I'd prefer that. Let's go back to those gritty, you know, stories where you'd have to make something under pressure, you know, when you'd have to actually have a bit of creative genius and come up with something good, you know, under pressure. Because now you've got the money and you've got the more freedom, the quality of the product isn't necessarily getting better despite the advancements. Okay, you've got it in nice 4K, which, I mean, okay, if you're filming it in 4K cameras and we're not getting a 4K release, you know, it's just there somewhere. The Capaldi Regeneration story, they released that in 4K. And I know it didn't particularly sell well, I don't believe, but that was because in that particular era, you know, 2016, 2017, 4K was still relatively new at that point. It's not quite as big as it is now. So why they're not releasing it in 4K is a bit beyond me. But then that's just a long list of decisions that continue to baffle me.
Do you know what? I do agree with you. I will agree with you when you said, you know, since the money has pumped in, the quality of the show has dipped. Do you think that is the course? Like, I do agree with you. Doctor Who looks pretty now, and visually it looks amazing. And it did Jordan to Jodie Whittaker era. I think we can admit that in some episodes it looked visually beautiful. Right? Nobody can deny that. But that's not what Doctor Who fans are all about. We've grown up with a show where the writing was the focus because we had the shaky sets. We didn't have the budget. So when you kind of flip that now, which is what they've done now we've got the budget, but now the story telling has basically, you know, gone down. It seems to have had a negative impact. It probably would be a blessing in disguise, and this is me just speculating, if Disney Plus do exit, you know, saying, right, we're not funding it anymore. It might be a blessing in disguise if BBC still do have, they say that they do want to keep this show going. So if they have the will, right, less our budget, I think, would do this a favor. Of course, you've got to bring in the right people then to make it work. But I don't see it as the end if Disney Plus was to pull it, if BBC decided to go with that risk. Listen, I've said it plenty of times on this channel. We've all said, right? It's about time that Disney take the gamble and take the risk now. You went to Disney because you didn't want to really take the risk and the gamble. You wanted Disney to take that risk and gamble for you, right? It's about time that you take the gamble. Listen, sack RTD, get rid of Bad Wolf out of that altogether. Anybody connected with him, right, never works on the show again. It's as simple as that. You bring in fresh new blood, people that are capable of that understand science fiction as well and know a little bit about the show. They don't have to know everything about the show. They can learn along the way, of course. You know, they'll do their research, but get people in that have not been connected with the show. And then you have a basis there then they just have to deliver on storyline cinnamon and character development. But I don't see BBC taking that risk. Where do you stand on it if Disney do pull the plug? Do you think the BBC will say we'll give it one last try, or do you think they'll just shelve it?
Yeah, probably. You know, we keep hearing from them that it's all rosy in the garden. So and quotes that they'll go back to how it used to be. So they don't seem too afraid on that front. Like I say, as a British viewer, I don't think it'd be a massive loss. Okay, it might be a little bit of extra funding that we're not no longer able to access. I say we, it's them, isn't it? Really, but makes no difference. And like I say, it still looks visually similar to the Jodie era. I mean, hell, I was even watching one of my favorite stories, Midnight, with my sister the other day, and do you know what? Yeah, okay, it was the most recent Blu-ray edition, and it was upscaled, but it looked good. Of course, it never looked that good at the time because it would have been standard definition. But even still, like, Rabbi says this a lot as well. Rabbi is quite a big kind of believer of the years gone by were just as good. This obsession with looking good and fancy effects. Okay, yeah, that's a bonus, but like you say, it's about the story, and despite the more money, the quality of the product is less, and also the quantity. I do believe quality over quantity, but when you're not getting either, and we're getting less and less episodes, and less memorable stories that are grabbing me at the minute. I said on the group, and maybe this is a very simplistic way of looking at it, because it's comparing it to like really. I mean, it's not high standard, but it's like I'm waiting for the next Midnight. I'm waiting for the next Blink. I'm waiting for the next big story that grabs you. A lot of these ones we're getting now are just not even filler bottle episodes. They're just sort of really sort of blowing by. They're going past me without much thought. I mean, I can't see myself looking forward to watching Rogue again. It just or Dot and Bubble even. It's like these episodes I'm not rushing to watch, and it's not even just because of nostalgia. Because again, you watch it back and you can clearly see the difference in the quality. It's just not the same. It's not engaging. The fandom is dead. It's like we talk about the fandom. The fandom is probably the worst bit about Doctor Who at the minute. The fact that the quality of the scripts is maybe up to question. That's one thing. But the state of the fandom, it's dead. It's toxic from all sides. All this Neil Gaiman situation, and everyone's just fed up with each other. Everyone's just sick of each other. Everyone's just annoying each other. Everyone's an expert. Being a Doctor Who, going on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and discussing Doctor Who, what's the point? Because all you're going to do is end up with getting in a 3-hour debate, arguing back and forth for a day or two, or however long it goes on, and then they're not even going to listen to your point of view. You're probably not going to listen to their point of view. And ultimately, you're never going to get anywhere. It's just repetitive and boring, and it's long gone are the days where the worst Doctor Who fandom would be the odd blasphemy about saying whether Love and Monsters. Well, I mean, I know me and Noel quite like Love and Monsters, But it was back then. You'd say Little Monsters was a great Doctor Who story, or you'd say the Sixth Doctor was maybe the best Doctor. Something a bit like
Love
wow,
Monsters
a little bit
compared
out
to
there.
Ant
Something
we've
I call
gotten
you.
now is fucking delightful compared to what we've gotten now. But Jack has actually made something that would be considered a bit of a controversial take on this topic. Take it back to McGann and start again, then all the problems with canon will be fixed. But right, I do get where you're coming from, and you make a good valid point there. But can I just stick in for Christopher Eccleston there, right? I've judged that man very harshly over the years, and I've admitted that, and I've apologized, right? But his fourth season for me was absolutely brilliant. I know it hasn't aged well, right? It hasn't, but to reintroduce the show back, right? And I know some people will say in that fourth season is where some of the things that the sprouts of what RTD was going to become started there. But I think that fourth season is terrific, and I think Christopher Eccleston, like McGann, has kind of gotten a bit of a bad rep in this fandom and has been treated a little bit unfairly. So I would say, can we not stick in your comment there? Can we not stick in, say, even Christopher Eccleston's fourth season, and then maybe start after him erasing David Tennant? I don't like the idea of erasing Matt Smith's Doctor either, or Peter Capaldi, but I get where you're coming from. And again, this is just a fan opinion. Nobody is actually saying out there that they should do this. This is how a fan feels, so understand the difference. Sorry, guys, that I have to do a bit of this thing that they did on Doctor Who, explaining everything on screen. I have to explain it to a particular listener out there who just doesn't have the brain to process the difference between fact and fiction, and fact and speculation, and opinion and fact. So I just have to keep reminding the person that's listening, because they're definitely listening, because there'll be about 40 videos now after this one. Well, not 20, the 40. But yeah, so we just have to keep explaining to the moron. Anyway, there was a lot of excitement with that fourth season, says Bobby. And I do agree, but I get where Jack is coming from. If you think about it from a logical point of view, starting back from McGann and then basically erasing the whole of the New Who era and continuing from there would make sense. But I think that'd be too much of a drastic move to make with the plot holes that he's talking about and fixing canon. There's certain things I suppose we could ignore. And remember, most of the canon fuck ups happened in the Chris Chibnall era anyway, and then are being continued by obviously dickhead RTD. So but I get where you're coming from, and I get why you would want to start from there. I personally do like, I even have to admit, I hate David Tennant, but I do like his era. I do like his run as the Doctor. I can separate. Well, it's getting harder to kind of separate the man from the Doctor with that fella, but I can still do it, and I can still enjoy the episodes, and not look at the screen and think how much of a fucking twat he is. And I love Matt Smith. I mean, Matt Smith was a Doctor when everybody saw him. People were kind of ridiculed. He wasn't going to work. And that very first episode, the 11th hour, that scene basically run. He was Air Doctor from there on in. And I wouldn't like to see his era being dismissed either. But again, I can understand where you're coming from. And if any other people think like you, I understand exactly where you are coming from. Because in reality, if we really wanted a clean slate, you're right, that's the only way to do it, in my opinion. But it erases those lads, and I just haven't got it in me to erase, especially Peter Capaldi, Matt Smith, David Tennant. I wouldn't really care, but I do like his era, as I said, but not Christopher Eccleston either. I love his fourth season. I absolutely love it. And if he had got to continue to play the Doctor, I'm telling you now, the whole course of this show, the history of this show, be completely different, in my opinion. And that would have been something And I'd like to see Christopher back as well. So, you know, maybe start, you know, okay, go back to McGann, maybe do an episode with him or a little mini series with him, but then regenerate him into Eccleston and bring Eccleston back. And then continue from Eccleston then forward then, you know. Listen, they're able to bring back an older David Tennant, right? And they're able to make that shit make sense to a certain extent. They could do the same with Eccleston. Again, you see what I mean in the chat there. I'm just gonna remove any mods because any trolls, because at this stage I can't. It's like talking to a brick wall, talking to that idiot. Listen, we're speculating here. Do you not know the difference, right? So why are you telling us to report the truth when we're speculating, you fucking moron? Know the difference. Now you go onto your little channel there, do your 20 videos, and you tell all the lies that you want, you little loser. Okay, but you're gone now. Off you pop. Right. Oh, remember as well, just want to remind people that he did say it's the 26th of June now. He did say in one of his videos a while back, you probably have to go down through his playlist now because he's made so many videos since then, shit and talking me and other people. But he made a video to say that Ncuti Gatwa would start filming at the end of this month for the next series of Doctor Who. So when that doesn't happen, right, because he's doing a play at the moment and that finishes up, when that doesn't happen, I'm going to love how you're going to try spin that nonsense. You've already been proven to be wrong several times, so why would anybody believe you when it comes to filming? And if they were filming, I'm being honest with you, and I think Cinnamon will back me up on this, if they were filming at the end of June, we would have already known about it. There would have been an announcement saying they're back, they're ready to go, we're filming Doctor Who, right? And there'd be no need for official fucking statements because that would be there, that would be the evidence there and then, right? So don't talk out your arse. Again, you've been caught out lying. And when you said to me that you didn't lie last night, and I literally put the 2 videos up of you lying about Jodie and Christine, I see that you didn't respond to them. You kept quiet on those videos. I'll continue to keep posting those videos to show people how much of a liar that you are every time you come out with nonsense, right? As I said, you know, your reign of telling lies and bullying people is over, okay? So just get with the program now, okay? And be an obedient little man and do what you're fucking told. Yeah? Do what you're told, right? And fuck off. Nobody wants to have you around, okay? Everybody thinks you're a stain on the fandom. You've zero rep, right? You've zero credibility, right? And you make Forrest Gump look like Albert fucking Einstein. Yeah, I think I've made myself pretty much clear. Anyway, let's continue this. So where do you stand with Jack's point there? Because it would be considered a bit of a controversial take, but I can understand his thinking behind that. If that's the way BBC were to go, just we're speculating here. So say hypothetically, right, the BBC decided that they were going to try and undo some of the damage and they were going to erase some of these eras. Which eras would you erase and which ones would you keep if you would keep any?
No, I'm not really a big fan of erasing anything really. Even the ones I don't like, just move past it. Learn the lessons of what's going wrong. Apply it, rectify it. Try not to make the same mistake again.
I get where you're coming from, but I'll just throw in just to defend the people that have that comment. Where about the likes of the Timeless Child and the Fugitive Doctor and things like that that have done serious damage to canon and have upset the fans? Like their canon break and stuff, like they've literally messed with canon. We've got cyber lords now that regenerate and all of this. Has the universe been destroyed or not? We still don't fucking know. Let's be honest. I mean, there is a lot to repair here. So would you just say, just ignore it and just move on? Just, you wouldn't even try and fix that situation there? Would you just say, let's just all ignore the timeless children and let's just move on? It's just something that's there, but we'll just fail to acknowledge it.
Well, there's two options you could do. You could either do that, ignore it, and move on as best they can, or they could fix it. I mean, I think I'd probably do a bit of both. Do one.
Do you know what I do? Just real quick, I make just fix the timeless children situation. It's simple. You make the timeless child the master. Simple as that. Simple as that.
That was my point. That's what I was going to say. I've always thought it would better suit the master anyway, because it makes more sense for his character. Because if he was to find out upon looking in the Matrix that it was all him, he's the reason Gallifrey is existing, he's the reason. And people might not like that. People might not think, you're making the master into this sort of godlike complex. But I think people would rather be the master than the Doctor. The Doctor is a protagonist of the show, after all. But I've always thought it would be better if it was.
But it makes more sense with the master, because it would explain the master's behaviour over the years, because obviously the timeless child had went through some trauma, had been abandoned and all of that. So it's classic. It would latch on to the master's personality more than it would the Doctor's. It was like they tried to transplant this whole narrative onto the Doctor, whereas it wouldn't have been a transplant with the master. It would have been a natural progression because of how the master has acted through the years. His unhinged behavior, the fact that he's willing to destroy the whole fucking universe just to beat the Doctor. You know what I mean? It would. You're absolutely right, though. It would suit the master a lot better.
Just because of obviously his vain and narcissistic personality. If you were the master and then in that position and you found out, oh wow, like I'm not only just a Time Lord, I'm from Gallifrey, but the whole reason this planet and this entire race exists is because of me. Oh, and they've defied, like the master would, because obviously the master destroyed the planet yet again, but that would make sense because the master had been, the whole four knocks thing, the four beats, they've tortured him his whole life, they've made him an outcast. He doesn't really particularly like the Time Lords really much more than the Doctor does. So that's kind of why they're somewhat similar, because the Time Lords have been just as bad to the master as they have been the Doctor. So he's got no particular love for them either. So to imagine being him and thinking, hang on, the whole reason this race exists is because of me. And you've denied me, and you've made me an outcast, and you put me on trial, or the Daleks, you've allowed me to be executed and all that. I know I could have been president. I could have been Lord President of Gallifrey. I could have been the king or whatever. I could have done so much. It'd be like denying me my birthright kind of thing you might see in a medieval drama or Game of Thrones, Keep the throne is mine kind of attitude, maybe. It makes total sense for the master to react as angrily as he did. But you try and tell me that, I created this whole race, I created this whole civilization, and you treat me the way you did, and you throw me out. No, I'm coming for you. I'll destroy the lot of you. That makes much more sense. And again, you'd fix it right there with the Doctor. You could have some sort of, I don't know how you do it. Again, I'm just summarizing it now. But you could play around with the idea, develop the storyline. You've got this whole thing about gods and monsters and things not being quite real and things not being as they seem. So you could maybe mess around and say something tampered with the Matrix, because the master looked into the Matrix. He didn't tamper with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could, something's tampering with the Matrix. The master then looked at it and saw, oh wow, the Doctor's behind all of this. Obviously now in this universe, we're now changing it. Well, not in this universe, but in this new storyline, we've now altered it. It wasn't the Doctor. It was the master all along. He only thought it was the Doctor. And it would sort of maybe, well, it still wouldn't really fix how he destroyed Gallifrey, because from the master's point of view, he still thought the Doctor was the reason behind it all, so he destroyed it for that reason. But even still, despite it all, it would make much more sense for it to be the master. And again, it would remove all the frustration from the canon, because then there would be no canon. I don't know how you. To be honest, I don't know how you'd get
Doctor
around.
Who canon, though, let's be honest about it, right? Classic fans.
Like 2 years since that.
Yeah, but we talk about canon. But let's be honest, Doctor Who canon, especially during the classic era, like, I mean, some people, writers and some directors would ignore certain pieces of fucking canon and do their own thing. We know that canon isn't perfect, but there are certain no-go areas where these writers or showrunners have delved into the last couple of years, which have annoyed fans. We didn't ask us to fix any of these problems. You know, that's why there's fan fiction there. We were happy with the fan fiction and being able to come up with our own theories. The one thing that we don't want is we don't want a fella that claims to be a fan of the show come in as a writer then to put his own fan fiction on screen for everybody. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And this is why this show has declined as well, because there seems to be this whole thing of fixing stuff within Doctor Who, especially stuff that they deem problematic. That's not your job, right? If it's problematic, this is what I always say to people, right? If it's problematic, right, you're not forced to watch it, right? So, for example, if you think what's the name of the 10th planet, right? There's rumors that, you know, Hartnell was racist towards your man in that story, right? Comes out by one of his former companions, you know, that she was disappointed with him and all this bullshit, trying to cancel the dead man. But anyway, right? Some people found out about that, of course, and start screaming and shouting, oh, man, 10th planet, all this shit, no cancelling things, right? So now it's become problematic, apparently, right? Don't watch it then. If you think that Hart knows this, that, and the other, then nobody's forcing you to watch. It's the same with any other problematic stories out there that you deem to be problematic. It's the same with this whole obsession with trying to make classic Who fit in with the modern audience. It wasn't made for that audience. The audience today are a low IQ. The audience back then are much smarter than an audience today, and that's a fact. Global IQs have dropped all over this planet. It's a fact. Go and check it out, right? So it wasn't made. If classic Doctor Who is too intelligent for people, right, and they can't understand it, well, tough shit, right? There's people like me that are fans that go back to these stories and watch time and time again, and we understand them, right? And that's all that matters. It was made in a different era, so stop trying to make these episodes. And this is another thing. Again, though, when they do that, Cinnamon, they then fiddle around with the story and may insert their own bullshit into it. And this is what I'm talking about. We didn't ask for any of this. We just want Doctor Who. Look at whether you believe he's a madman in a blue box or he's whatever, right? A man that just goes through space and time and rest, whatever you see, which way you see the Doctor, right? I think we're all in agreement right now that all we want is fucking decent fucking stories. Some that scare, some that fucking make us think, some that, you know, the Doctor is on the edge of fucking life. All of these things that we're used to when we watch Doctor Who. That's all I'd settle for, the basics, right? And if people say, but it's boring and predictable and blah, 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 I wouldn't give a shit. If it's telling a good story and it's got good character fucking development, if other people think it's not exciting, well, fuck them. We're the Doctor Who fan. And I'm going to say this, right? I used to say this myself because it's a false narrative. Doctor Who and Star Trek wasn't made for everybody, right? We hear this thing, Doctor Who was made for everybody. Wasn't. Doctor Who is a sci-fi show, right? It's a special genre, right? Just like you have your horror buffs, you have your action movie buffs, you have your fucking musical buffs, right? Science fiction is not for the masses, never has been for the masses, and shouldn't be made for the masses. This is why Star Trek and this is why Doctor Who is actually struggling, because they're trying to make the mass appeal. And then what happens then when you try to make the mass appeal? They turn out to be like every other fucking generic show out there. That's Doctor Who's biggest issue. So when people say that Doctor Who is for everybody, it's not for everybody, right? And I'm sorry, that's not a bad thing to say, right? It's for people that are interested in science fiction and love science fiction, right? That's what Doctor Who is for. Same with people that love their horror movies, or some people love their comedies. You know what I mean? Doctor Who's not made for everybody. Simple as that. Same with Star Trek, and that's why they're struggling. Until BBC, until the people behind it understand this fact, right? You're never going to fix Doctor Who in the first place anyway. Stop trying to make a mass appeal. If you make a good, decent sci-fi show, right, it will appeal. Right? It'll appeal. Doctor Who was able to appeal to the masses back in the day, right? Because it was good science fiction. It taught a little bit of history as well. It educated, right? And parents could sit down and watch it with their kids. You get those basics right, you win an audience back. It's as simple as that. Try to make it for the mass audience, or try to make it for a certain demographic because you feel like they're being fucking oppressed. Well, then you're a fucking idiot, and the show will continue to nosedive. Simple as that. Would you agree with that assessment, Cinnamon?
Yeah, I would. But I was just thinking that. Do you remember that? Does anyone remember that article that came out like last year or something like that from that woman who said, "Oh, Doctor Who wasn't made. Sorry, white men, or sorry, white people. Doctor Who wasn't made just for you." Do you remember that article? And the Metro had to backtrack it and edit it, which didn't really make it much better. I remember that the other day. That made me laugh. But yeah, you've got to. It's sort of tired old argument. It's not even Doctor Who. It's everywhere. It's modern.
Yeah, but sci-fi is sci-fi is a unique niche. It's not supposed to appeal to the masses.
Point what that's it, or everything, or you take something, whether it be a go and give it a watch. Anyone can watch it, but it might not be for everyone. The same. I'm a hockey fan as well. I've been watching that. I've been getting into that, and they say, "Oh, hockey's for everyone," and I'm like, "Well, okay." I mean, it always was. In a way, it was always there to be able to be watched.
Well, it is for whoever wants to enjoy it. That's the point. But to actually say that it's for everybody is a false statement. You make a show and you make it the best that it can be, and it'll appeal to people that love that genre, right? Also, you will get the odd person that's not really a big sci-fi buff come in and say, "Oh yeah, I do like that," right? That does happen, but they don't make these shows in the first place to mass appeal to everybody, right? They make the shows because they want to make the best version of the show that they make, and that's why Classic Who is up there. Everybody, Classic Who is the benchmark, we all say. And even though New Who has had its highs, has it ever reached the benchmark of Classic Who? No, it hasn't. And it never will. But we don't expect it to reach those benchmarks. But a certain standard was set, right? And then when the show was brought back by Russell T in 2005, he set a standard, and that standard hasn't been kept. It's below those standards now. We're getting a below par show with weak character development, right? We're getting messages pushed in, an agenda pushed into our face, whatever tiddles the fucking showrunners fancy, whatever he's bitter or angry about, we have to suffer as Doctor Who fans, right? That's not what this show should be used for. It's not a platform for this old man who's running out of steam and has run out of steam to go and use our show to express his grievances with the world, right? I'm sorry, right? We want to be entertained, and we're sick of the constant lectures and constant agenda pushing stories that he's putting out there. Anyway, keep going. Sorry, we have a few trolls that I'm dealing with, right? So don't worry. I'm removing them as they come in. They're not actually trolls. What they are is he has several accounts, and he's using the several accounts to pretend to be someone else, because he always makes sure when he writes the sentence in to put Matrix Lord in, because it's all about him. So just don't worry, guys. Just ignore. I just wanted to highlight it again there because it's funny. It's actually funny. It is, because he'll probably stop using Matrix Lord now. Oh, there we go. They've already stopped using Matrix Lord. See, it's very predictable. Very predictable. Nobody says podcasters that watches me, right? So that's you again. Little things like that I've gotten to know over the language that he uses as well. It's funny. He thinks that I'm that stupid. I'm not stupid. You're stupid. Anyway, one would think if RTD was a good creative writer, he could write a drama and successfully pitch it to the BBC. Well, he has had successes, but see, here's the thing, right? We've got, if we're honest with ourselves, Stephen Moffat, right? Chris Chibnall. Well, Chris Chibnall probably have a little bit more experience, but was Torchwood really a sci-fi show? That's been argued throughout the years. I do class as a sci-fi show, and I do like Torchwood, believe it or not. I've always defended Torchwood. I just don't like the last season, the American season with Bill Pullman. I mean, you bring in a brilliant actor like that, and you make him a child thing, if you know what I mean. And then, like, you try to make him a sympathetic character. It's not really going to go down well with the audience, to be quite honest with you. And it didn't. But the first 3 seasons of Torchwood are brilliant, in my opinion. But the problem, another big issue that we have with Doctor Who is that RTD is not actually a sci-fi writer. It's not his genre, right? He likes doing dramas and soaps, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, because he's been very successful with some of the shows that he's done over the years. But Stephen Moffat was the same. He isn't a sci-fi writer either, right? And this is an issue that we have now. They have to bring in a sci-fi people that understand the genre now. It's the only way it's going to work now, right? It's the only way it's going to work now, right? It's like, you know, they tried the fanboys,
I'd
right?
probably
It's
say
not working anymore.
maybe more Moffat than
What? What you
I
say?
say. I think maybe more Moffat.
Sorry, you're cutting out.
More Moffat than RTD.
Right, you seem to be cutting up a little bit. It's this goddamn weather that we have. Deluded people. Right, he's gone. He should be back now in a minute. Someone just, Joe just put up, you put Matrix, like, he likes to talk about himself in the third person. He's asking if I'd bring him on his show when he's proven to be right. Well, you said the show was renewed last year. RTD and others and the media have specifically said that no decision will be made on Doctor Who until 2025. So when you said it was already renewed, you lied. So no, I won't be bringing you on the show because you lied. See, that's what you don't get. You lied originally when you said the show being renewed, when people had said, and RTD himself had said, that the show hadn't been renewed, that he didn't know what was going on yet, but the decision will be made in 2025. So you lied. So I won't be bringing you on because you lied, right? And you've continued to lie since then. You said there's a 2025 Christmas special that has been filmed and has wrapped up, right? And there's no evidence to back you up on that whatsoever, except an AI little search thing that you did to say that Doctor Who was having a 2025 Christmas special when it showed an image to Joy to the World, in fact. But when you Google, is there a Doctor Who Christmas special in 2025? It doesn't give you any information except the information about Joy to the World. So again, you lied on that count when you said there's a Christmas special. There is no Christmas special. Has it? If that's the case, he would have announced the Shooty's third season, right? So again, lies. So why would I bring you on? You haven't been proven to be right about Arden. You're living in your own little deluded world, thinking that you're right, but you're not right. You're wrong. And you've been wrong. You were wrong about Jodie and Chris staying, right? And also you made the point that I said that the show was being cancelled every year under Jodie. Well, after the 4-season chaos in Cardiff happened and the show was actually going to come off the air, Jodie was walking away, and so was Chris Chibnall walking away. Now, they were brought in, and I explained all of this at the time. You go back and watch the streams. I explained at the time that their meeting was held. They were all brought in together. They sang Kumbaya, and the show went on again, right? But it never recovered after Chaos in Cardiff, because after that, then it was only a matter of time when the show was cancelled. And then it was, well, when I say it was cancelled, but then RTD came in, and the rest is history, right? But you said that those two were staying, and that your sources, the sources that gave you the information before, that were right about this and right about that and right about this in your little video that you did, you are wrong. So everybody knows that you're wrong. Everybody that's in this chat knows that you are wrong. So when you come in here, right, under fake accounts, right, and accuse me of being a liar, accuse Dan of not being truthful like you do, and then spinning it then and saying, oh, I'm sending people to your channel. Nobody's wasting their piss on you sending people to your channel. Why would people send people to your channel? Nobody watches you, right? You troll yourself, or you get other people to do it. It's obvious, right? So you've lied countless times over the years. When you get caught out, you bully people, right? So no, you will never ever get the honor of coming on to this channel. I only bring people on that are credible and people that I like. And I certainly don't like you or think you're credible. You have zero reputation, zero credibility. And the fact that you talk about yourself as a third person and think you are the master of your own little matrix, Lord, right? You want to get yourself sorted, right? Because you're living in a deluded little bubble there, yeah? And get with the grip of life and get with the grip of reality. Because looking in from the outside, I think everybody will agree with me. You're a sad little man.
Yeah, we switched over to the phone.
It's grand. It happens when you stream on your computer. We're used to you. What you call it? Fucking having to swap over. Anyway, yeah. What you call it? It's the show is in a very, very interesting situation, because you know it was going to go at the end of the Chips era, but RTD managed to come in, and then it was kind of saved, and then the Disney Plus deal was done. And Cinnamon, let's be honest, there was a lot of optimism, but to see what see the way it's turned out now, I mean, it is a sad situation, isn't it? Because we did say, do you remember when we were all came on the stream when RTD was announced, and we all said that he had one chance to get it right? Do you remember that? I even said it myself. Said he's got one chance to get it right. The show has to be on solid foundations before they even talk about spin-offs, right? And I says there were spin-offs in the pipeline, and I thought that was a bad idea. Don't follow the Disney model and all of that. Like, people can go back and check. We discussed all of this, but there was so much optimism. Did we actually? Did I know you didn't, right? And deep down, I probably didn't myself. But this is a question for people in the chat as well. Did you think it was going to get this bad? Did you ever envision it being this bad? Because it has been bad. No matter what the spin, they say even the AI is in. It was 70 something. The thinking put it up. It was 70 something. The lowest AI, like it's doing bad. But did you ever envision, Cinnamon? Because you are quite optimistic. I mean, you are the most optimistic on the panel, if I'm correct in saying. You are bleeding over the moon. Did you think? Did you even envision this it being this bad?
No. Like you just said, I was the more optimistic one. There was some episodes I did enjoy. Again, Boom was. I really, really enjoyed Boom. I can't lie. Space Baby, there was something I took away from that as well. But then there was certainly the opposite as well, because then you'd get Rogue or the Devil's Card, and you'd get it was very. I think I used the analogy of a really nice cuppa, like a nice cup of tea,
but you're left out in the cold, and then you've like reheated it, and it's not quite the same. That's what R2D2 is. It's got like, I don't know what it is. It's got like remnants of potential R2D1 era, when it's been left out and reheated, and it's just not got the same taste. It's different to his first era, and yeah, he's a different. I mean, yeah, it's been nearly 20 years now. I mean, we're coming up to March soon. It'll be 20 years if you can believe it. And yeah, he'd have grown as a person, and maybe not always for the better. I don't. He's much more radical than he was before. He'll sit there and say he's always been the same. It's always been in his blood. It's always. He doesn't know. He sits there in his little quote. I don't know how to write any other way you do, because you used to write about stories, and at one point you were just wanting to establish Doctor Who in the 21st century as opposed to be reckoned with, and you did that. You were successful. You had a Doctor Who empire. We were saying earlier about did New Who ever reach the heights of classic Who? Probably not, and in terms of its popularity, but it came damn close. You had all the spin-offs. It was popular. You had Voyage of the Damned, high rate. David Tennant is arguably up there as as his Doctor.
No, he is. No, we can't deny as a Doctor. He's up there. You're right. I'm not going to knock that.
It's always him or Tom Baker, isn't it? It's always the two of them.
Doctor, brilliant as a Doctor.
2008. There was really growing a whole little empire. In 2008, it was all going really well, and it all really sort of came, and it all sort of came to a bit of a standstill after Matt Smith's first season. Because people say, series 1 to 4, but I always like to include series 5 because it's still, although it's massively different to the seasons that come before it, I still like to include it because, well, what came after was a little bit hit and miss. Series 6, I mean, what was that? Didn't quite know what it wanted to be itself. Series 7 picked itself up a little bit, but then Smith left, and then of course we're going to the Capaldi years where the scripts, as good a Doctor as Capaldi was, the scripts there aren't really as memorable to me, and I think a lot of people felt the same. And then of course Jodie came, and obviously we all know what's happened next. So it's after about series 5, it's been a very slow decline. But then once we got to Jodie, it sort of ramped up a little bit more. It's just, and like I say, now RTD's back. He's writing his second season. Well, he's wrote it now. We're waiting for that to drop. And yeah, I mean, I'm in a really weird position because I still like.
You're looking forward to it. Just listen, I'm not going to knock you, but I know deep down you're looking forward to the second season because you are right. You did enjoy, and listen, I haven't said anything about you because that's not my place. If you enjoy it, that's why I've had you on the panel, because it has been interesting hearing your takes from someone that has enjoyed some of these episodes. So I'll never knock you for being excited for the second series. If you are excited for the second series, that's not my place. The bottom line is, if it does something for you, that's fine. But you have acknowledged, which a lot of fans don't though, you have acknowledged that there are problems with the show. And
absolutely, because you have to be.
But that's all we want people to do. If people will just acknowledge that there's problems with the show, then we can get somewhere here. The bottom line, it's not working under RTD, whether you like him back or not, right? He's not going in a direction that is keeping the long-term fan. And I'm sorry whether you can dismiss the long-term fans and the fans that joined in 2005, right? Those fans deserve to have a decent fucking show, whether you like it or not. Those fans have put in the hours, they've spent their money, right? They've kept this show afloat even during its bad eras. They kept this show afloat. Even when it was off air, they kept this show afloat, right? And
I probably spent more on the Jodie era than some of
those fans, framing this and packaging this off as Doctor Who is an insult to their intelligence and an insult to the loyalty that they have shown to this show for decades. And this is the issue here. And this is why I say Doctor Who isn't made for everybody. Like, people are more than welcome to come and watch the show all they want, right? And enjoy it just as much as a Doctor Who fan. But remember, for me personally, and this is just my opinion, Doctor Who should be made with Doctor Who fans in mind. If you make a good enough sci-fi show, right, it doesn't matter whether it's called Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek. If you make a decent fucking show like they did with the rebooted version of Lost in Space, right, you bring in an audience, and you bring in a new audience that never even saw the original fucking show, right? Like what you did in 2005, right? You need to pull the same trick again, BBC, but this time you need to bring in sci-fi writers. You need to go back to basics, and you need to get rid of RTD and all his cronies, right? And never allow any of those, even Stephen Moffat. I'm serious. Yeah, it needs to be a clean slate completely across the board. I don't want to see Stephen Moffat writing for Doctor Who ever again, as far as I'm concerned. I want them done with Doctor Who. Same with RTD. Same with Chris Chibnall, Toby Whithouse, and all of these others. I'm sorry, I know some of them made some great episodes, but at the end of the day, a clean slate means exactly fucking that. Clean slate, back to basics, and give this fucking show a heartbeat again. Give this show some fucking life, some love, some tender fucking care, right? And show the fans that you fucking care about it. And if you show that you care about it, right, and you really want it to succeed, trust me, that's enough to bring some fans back. It will be enough to bring some fans back. Obviously, you'll have to win other fans over with obviously producing on the fucking screen, right? But you've got to do what's best by this show now. There's no more chances. I don't think there is a chance after this, because I did say, and I have to stick by what I said, RTD had one chance to get it right, and if he didn't, I found it hard to see this show continue. It'd be a struggle, to be quite honest with you, and I think it would be a struggle. But maybe a premature separation, which could be in the works, because we've heard the rumors. Maybe that could be the best thing to happen. Maybe this will be a decision that might save future Doctor Who. You never know. But we're going to wrap up there now in a minute. I'm just going to let Cinnamon make a few last points if he wants to. But I'm going to wrap up now because we're getting close to 30:30 and I want to wrap up. So I hope you have enjoyed my take on it. I'll just let Cinnamon get a few more things in there as well. And Joe, I'm finishing up in 3 minutes there. So if you want to troll, you've got about 3 minutes left to do your trolling there if you want to. So go ahead. But Cinnamon, any final thoughts moving forward?
Yeah, just one thing I don't think I've ever understood is the obsession with chasing an audience that was never there anyway. I've said it to you before about Call of Duty and the zombies mode, and again, just anything. It's not just Doctor Who; it's all sorts of. We're seeing it all the time in all walks of life. With the dumbing down a product, changing it to fit an audience that was never there anyway. Again, if you make Doctor Who and make it as it used to be, and again, we don't need to hear these things, because again, why would they come out and say? Why would Russell come out and say, "Oh, sorry, they're not going to talk about some complex sci-fi thing around the dinner table. They need to talk about, something you'll be able to relate to, like adoption." And I'm like, well, sorry, but this is Doctor Who. It's not some ITV drama. If you don't understand Doctor Who, or if it's not something you can talk about at the breakfast table, which is stupid, because the amount of conversations I've had with my family about the show, it is unhealthy. So let's not beat around the bush here. Let's not act like people don't understand the show, because they clearly millions did, and millions enjoyed it.
Exactly.
So I get the whole thing about trying to chase an audience. Like we said, Doctor Who isn't for everyone. It's there for everyone to be able to have the opportunity to enjoy. Anyone can decide to watch it, and I would welcome everyone to watch it, but it won't be for everyone. That's just physically impossible. Not everything suits everyone. There'll be some people who just don't like sci-fi. Some people think Doctor Who's rubbish. I can't. I mean, if they talk about this current era, I can maybe understand. But if they just talk about in general, oh, I hate Doctor Who. Well, how could you hate it? There's so much to love. But that's just opinions. It's not going to be it for everyone. So let's talk about, oh, football's for everyone, hockey's for everyone. Okay, it was always there to be enjoyed, but
That's
obviously
what
not
it is.
everyone's going to enjoy it. And
That's what
the
it
thing
is.
about as well.
The way they made it out was just real quickly. They made it out that Doctor Who was an exclusive. First, it was exclusive to gender. Do you remember when all the bullshit when Jodie came? Oh, it was a men boys club and all of this bullshit. Doctor Who has been there for everybody, right? But obviously, attract certain amount of people like us to the show. It's not our fault that it didn't appeal to Tom, Dick, and Harry. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know, it's funny. It's funny you should say that because it's like you go on YouTube and you type up Doctor Who reaction channels, and they've never seen Doctor Who before. A lot of them are women. So what do they say to that? Because clearly a lot of women are finding it and watching it and enjoying it. It was never. It was something like acting like it was some sort of big VIP. I mean, yeah, okay, nerdy, geeky comic books, all that kind of thing. Yeah, the target audience is going to be young boys. So you can't be surprised there, but let's not pretend like it was always for them. And another point, just before we wrap up, if according to Russell before, if you remember all the way back in season 1 with Christopher Eccleston, and a lot of the stories were Earthbound stories, or the odd time it was into space, it would be like 2 stories set on Satellite 5. Do you remember that? It was like 3 episodes, I think. The 7th one with what's his name? The Peg. His last name's Peg.
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg, yeah, and then obviously the finale, the 2-part finale with the Daleks, that was on Satellite 5 as well. Same location. And Russell always said, the people won't know, or people aren't interested about the Zog monsters from Planet Zog. You've got to sort of lay the groundwork a little bit and hook them in. And then in the second season, we saw a little bit more aliens and a little bit more monsters and a little bit more, other planets. So hopefully, I'm not holding my breath here, but by that same logic, season 2 of because obviously again the whole Disney rebrand and trying to get a new audience. If they're successful in their eyes, if they claim that they've got this new audience now, they've laid the groundwork, they've got that first season out of the way, then by definition, the second season should be more traditional Doctor Who. Again, just going off their own logic, we should see more monsters, more alien planets, less relatability stuff, less human drama. Less things about adoption, and more Doctor Who ideas. I mean, again, like I say, don't hold your breath. I'm just going off what their logic is. And judging from the trailer, I did like the trailer. The one of the things that the cartoon coming out the screen, that's actually quite, in my opinion, quite a genius idea for Doctor Who. There's something quite creepy about cartoons like that. So that's something like an opportunity. There's potential there. There's absolutely potential. But like always, it gets quashed and stamped on, and Russell's got to aggressively let you know what his politics are. So bluntly, it's like everyone says, a sledgehammer in the face, and all that potential flushed down the plug over. We can only hope. But yeah, that's it from me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Cinnamon. We'll do channel shout outs now in a minute. So I just want to say goodbye to everybody because apparently this will be my final live stream on the TARDIS Sound official channel. Yes, it's been broken that this will be my last stream on the TARDIS Sound official channel. Yeah, let's all take a minute to laugh at that comment. How many times has that been said to me over the last 6, 7, 8 years? It is funny. We will be back, of course, on the TARDIS Zone again because nobody's going to shut us up from having an opinion here, just like Dan is not going to be shut up for having his opinion, or anybody else out there in the Doctor Who fandom, because some idiot thinks he can go around policing and bullying people. Apparently, it's going to take him 1% to prove me wrong, apparently. So he still doesn't get the difference between fact and speculation, what we've been doing here actually today. And as I said, I very eloquently put it together on how he has lied several times there. So if anybody wants to actually clip that little part where I call,
I mean, we don't even need to report the truth because we weren't even discussing the truth. We were just talking about what we were discussing, what would happen. What would happen if Disney were to pull out? If in a hypothetical world, would we be losing much? And I said, no, not really. I don't think it would be a massive loss. So we were just summarising.
Exactly. That's all we were doing. But they've already done a few videos on me because they're very eager for me to know that they've done videos on me. But what a sad little life you live, to be quite honest with you. I feel sorry for anybody that associates themselves with you, to be quite honest with you. I know I can be a bit of a cunt sometimes, and I'll admit that, you know. But the bottom line is I have a life, and you know, I get out there and I try and enjoy it as much as I can. Maybe you should do the same as well. Anyway, JWC, Tim, PD, Rich, Nicholas, and everybody else that's joined me. I think we had, who else had we got there? Just Robert in the chat as well. Sorry, I haven't shouted you out in a while, so I'll do it as well. Elijah in the chat as well. We also had Bobby D, of course, add his 2 cents to the situation. Of course, the Joe posing as other accounts there. So welcome to those other accounts. Different, you know, come up with something original, will you, mate? We got Scottish Davros and Friends who wrestled with Pop Culture. He was also in the chat. Mark was also in the chat with us as well. K-Modo or Komodo was also in the chat. We had Michael in the chat as well with us, real Super Doctor, or Super John as he calls himself now.
Jack.
We had Jack May and also Raymond in the chat as well. That's a good spot. Sorry, just going through all of these. Jesus Christ, you really do put a lot of effort into trolling people, don't you? Jesus, man, get a life. Seriously.
That's if all these people in the chat aren't just on a different account.
Yeah,
Is it on a different account?
Leland in the chat. Yeah, then he goes and accuses other people of doing the same. But in fairness, everything that he says about other people is projection. He's actually describing himself. Who else had we got in the chat? I think we got everybody. I mentioned Jack as well, didn't I, Nicholas? Yeah.
Yep.
I want to thank everybody that joined us this evening. Of course, you can find me here on the Tarda Zone. I will continue to throw up my music videos as well, no matter what. I know some people probably be a bit sick of them, but there is a few people that do actually like them. So I'm going to do it for them, as I always have done on this channel. It doesn't matter if one person watches my fucking video. If they say they like it and they want me to continue to do them, that's what I do, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. Ezra is in the chat as well. He said, great stream. Thank you for joining me. I really do. PD's just dropped in before we go. So I'll bring him on for a couple of seconds because I do.
Howdy ho.
So there he is. He's been on a three months vacation, man. So he's on 3 months vacation, it sounds like. So that'd be absolutely fantastic. But you can hang on there.
To say hi. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm grand. Just can hang on there. I can talk for 5 minutes after the stream.
Yeah.
So we'll just end.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but do the channel. As you're here, you may as well do fucking channel shout outs as well. So Cinnamon, did I get you to do them? No.
Not yet.
I'll put up the road next.
Right. Yeah, so I've done mine. Cinnamon's done his. So is there any channel you want to give a quick shout out to before we leave here?
There's two actually. There's Rabbi, of course, who's now doing magazines. He's doing the SFX thing about Doctor Who. That's quite good, actually. You should have talked to him about that, Noel, because apparently Stephen Moffat on the Christmas special, a lot of the stuff he had to cut because of budget. It's all coming out now. Yes, he had that really boring bit where the Doctor stuck as a kind of janitor in a hotel. He was supposed to be gallivanting all around the world trying to find an open door. Stephen had to cut it.
That's funny because that was the bit of the episode that I liked the most.
PD. Now you're gone. I'm sorry, PD. Rest in peace, buddy. You're now the target. You're now going to be a target because you made that comment.
I know.
We have to please you here. Please don't touch him, dear Lord. Please don't touch him. We'll punish him here.
Go speak to Rabbi about SFX.
Don't ever say that again, PD. Don't ever say that again. I'm only messing. Anyway, Dan, type. But I want to give a special mention. I forgot before I leave, actually. I want to give a special mention to Type 40. Dan obviously had me on recently, as you know.
That was Facebook.
And actually, he's reached out to me several times since then. We've had a bit of a chat as well, and discussing matters as you're well aware. But so I want to give a special mention to him and his channel because again, he even said to me he has me back. You know what I mean? And he always defends.
He definitely does. He definitely does.
So I want to thank him for that. It was nice to hear that. But we have been talking, and he did say he'll bring me on again. So I'll be looking forward to that stream when it happens. There's no rush because I know he's busy doing all the other podcasts. So when he gets around to it, but it was an enjoyable stream, and
I'm moderating on that channel at night now. So there we go.
Yeah. So there you go. We'll have PD keeping an eye on everything. Anyway, lads and ladies, I'll leave you there. Thank you for watching. Joe, thanks for watching as well and adding to the view. Don't forget to dislike the stream, Joe. For the rest of you can all like the stream. And I'll see some of you later on when I drop more music for you. I hope some of you are enjoying. I'm experimenting with a few different mixing genres together as well. I was doing that last night. So some of the music might seem a bit weird, but the lyrics are deadly. But seriously, there's two versions of the Cybermen attack, right? Now, even if you don't watch any of my other music videos, go and check those two tunes out in particular. They are fucking banging. I'm actually proud of those two tunes, right? But check them out. There's two versions, right? And they're banging. And listen, guys, they're free to download them if you want to. I'm not one of these assholes, make music for everybody, okay? So if you like a particular Doctor Who song that I've made, you have me permission to download the song, yeah? I'd actually be over the moon if you did shit like that. So go and check them out. I've done a few diss tracks as well, which is upsetting.
Oh, yeah.
But I did them for fun. It's not because I'm obsessed. It gives me something to do, and I have a bit of laugh.
Unlike someone.
Yeah, some people take it way too fucking serious. I'm just being. Listen, do you know what? I've had the best since all of this is kicked off because he just couldn't help himself. I've had the best time the last couple of weeks. Me and others behind the scenes, and people will back me up on this. We've just been taking the piss and having a laugh. Like, it's like I just don't have any feeling towards him when the way
he's like Team Rocket, isn't he? Really? Oh no, it's Team Rocket.
Is the only reason why I'm giving him attention is because he's so desperate for it, and if he wants to act the bollocks and pick on vulnerable people, well then I'll give him the attention. But everybody else, as I said at the very start of the stream, I just want people to stay out of it, right? Between me and him, if he tries to drag us into it, just block him, okay? You don't need to be dealing with it. Just block him. I'll deal with him, right? He thinks I'm afraid of him like everybody else is being afraid of him, but I'm certainly not afraid of him, and I'll take him on toe-to-toe if he wants to. And he's threatened to take down this channel again, right? Because he said this will be the last stream on this channel. It won't be the last stream on this channel. Actually, I'll probably more than likely tomorrow be doing the Christmas special, believe it or not. So I'll be doing the watch along for that. That's the plan now. If it doesn't happen on Monday, it'll be Monday, won't it? It'll definitely happen on Tuesday, right? But it's happening. So I will be doing the watch along first, and then I'll do a panel. If people still are in the humor of talking about it, then I'll bring a panel on and we will discuss it, right? If they don't want to come on, then I'll just give my thoughts and opinions on it. But so I will be doing it next week. So come and join me for that. Anyway, I will see you all later. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm off to watch Manchester United now lose to Fulham. So, gonna have a good time, enjoy myself, relax. Well, not relax. Cinnamon will tell you it's not relaxing watching football, especially if your football team is up and fucking down, but United are down.
Especially when your manager comes out and says it's the worst team.
Man, the stress. Seriously, man. Right, Cheryl ran out of the room last week, right? No, it wasn't last week. It was just recently when Bruno got the Rangers against Rangers, right? And they equalised. I fucking lost it, right? She came in from the fucking bedroom. She go, "What's going on?" And she knew straight away they didn't score. I said, "Yeah, they scored, right?" And then she goes, "Just shit, right?" So she goes back into the room. Literally, I think it was 2 minutes later, I like, yes, yeah, all over the house. Yeah, get it, right. She comes right out, so United scored. Go, yeah, Bruno, yeah. I was fucking telling you, man, supporting Manchester United nowadays is a health hazard. So if that does happen to me, right, it'll be because of Manchester United. nobody else, right? Just want to make that clear. Anyway, I love you all. Thank you for continuing to support me throughout all of this, because you know
Now
what
we
it's
got you
like.
back.
It's every fucking year, right? Or every fucking era, whatever. But look, thank you for having me back. Thank you for the support. Appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button, as I said. Leave a comment, helps with the algorithm. Joe, don't forget to hit the dislike button, buddy. And
Also, just before you go, mate, head
Yeah.
over to Rabbi. He's reading through that article now. Rewind a little bit and you'll get it.
there you go. So, Rabbi, go over and watch Rabbi's stream. We're going to leave you here. Have a good one. It's just like a good boy and Philip. Yeah, Cheryl always says that. Like, she's been saying it for years. Noel says good night, and it's like 20 minutes later. But I'm gone now. Here we go. Watch. I'm going to do the trailer. He's ready. One,
go for it.
2, 3. Oh, by the way, we're just gonna play. We're just gonna play the disclaimer again, right? Just because I can. But I'm just gonna play the disclaimer again, just to make sure that the person gets the message.